Evening, everybody. How you doing? We are talking Bills Chiefs day after. Yeah, Bills still lost, by the way, so that didn't change. But the thing that changed for me, the thing that changed for me with the Bills and the Chiefs between last night and then into early this morning, when I started thinking about it more and re-listened to the Sean McDermott press conference from last night, also Micah Hyde, a couple others, is that I don't think the Bills defense played all that bad, actually, relative to what they were supposed to do. McDermott talked a long time yesterday about, or multiple times about not wanting to give the explosive play, not wanting to have the ball go over their heads, about picking their poison with the Chiefs. I really think the Bills went into that game yesterday saying, we're going to get run on. We're going to give up some rushing yards, but we're going to do that in exchange for making sure they don't hit 50-yarders over our head down the field. And to be fair, the Chiefs had a lot of situations where they weren't successful. I mean, they didn't score at the end of the first half when it looked like they had. I mean, they had Travis Kelce running with the ball near midfield with plenty of time to get a field goal, and the Bills forced a fumble. They didn't score to open the second half. So that's two different possessions where the Bills were down 3 and still prevented the Chiefs from adding on to the lead. And then at the end of the game, when it was 20-10, the Bills did prevent Kansas City from getting in the end zone. I mean, a touchdown there puts the game away, and kept it a somewhat manageable score at 23-10. So, were the Bills maybe playing a little scared with the Chiefs? Sure, but is it inappropriate? It's the bleeping Chiefs. This is what they do. They put up 40 on people. So for the Bills to decide that we're not going to get beat deep, we're not going to get boat raced by this passing game, and we're going to just live with whatever we give up in the running game, I think makes some sense. Now, 245 yards in the rushing game, that does not make sense. And obviously, this whole plan doesn't work if your own offense is only going to put up 17. So there were other issues that went into this. But, coming out of that game, I was thinking problem one was Josh Allen and the offense in general. Problem two was the defense. I don't know if the defense was that much of a problem. And they only gave 26 to the Chiefs. Mahomes didn't really destroy them until the end of the game. And I know people have talked to me all day today on Twitter about, well, the Chiefs did whatever they wanted to. No, they didn't. If they did whatever they wanted to, they would have scored a touchdown late, made it 27-10, and then there wouldn't be any issue about a fumble potentially giving the Bills an opportunity to win a game. So I don't think the defense was that bad, again, relative to what the Bills had planned to do. The Chiefs make every defense look bad. They put up 26 on the Patriots too, and we think the Patriots have a pretty good defense. So again, I don't think the Bills defensively were terrible against the Chiefs. I think they did generally what Sean McDermott wanted them to do. Now, one issue that did come up, that's come up a lot, at least lately, has been quarterbacks getting out of the pocket and burning them. Ryan Tannehill did it Tuesday in Tennessee with rushing the ball a couple times, especially that end of the first half touchdown. Mahomes did it at the end of the game with getting out of the pocket and hitting passes down the field. That's an issue that was addressed by coaches today. And Leslie Frazier talked about the defensive situation because this has been, an extended stretch here. The Rams game, they weren't good. The Dolphins game, for the most part, they weren't good. They seriously weren't good against Tennessee. They weren't good against the Chiefs. And Frazier said, look, even if you want to throw the kitchen sink out and start over, you can't do that. Because if you change everything, if you really radically radically change what the Bills do on defense, then players are going to look at coaches and think, what are we? What have we been practicing this, all offseason for? And it makes a lot of sense. You can't just flip this on the fly and expect everybody to buy in when you've been telling them to buy into something different, weeks and months before. So the Bills are going to have to just get better at what they do. Me personally, I think the problem, unfortunately, is that up front, they're just not good one-on-one right now. They don't win enough battles one-on-one. Ed Oliver has been, not what he was last year. Jerry Hughes has been fine. I think Trent Murphy, who didn't play yesterday, has mostly been fine against the run. But they just don't have enough guys up front who are winning one-on-ones, and that goes especially for Tremaine Edmonds. Today, Leslie Frazier said that, the shoulder injury is a thing with Edmonds. It's real. But they haven't lost any confidence in him, so they still think the guy can play. Offensively, the big discussion with Brian Daboll was about the run game. And, Brian Daboll is not very forthcoming with any topic, but certainly not this one also. Daboll said that in terms of the run game, he's just got to call better plays. But again, I'll go back to what I said about the defense. When I watch this team on film, the problem I see mostly is that up front, one-on-one, they don't win enough blocks. They just don't. Neither guard, whether it's Brian Winters or Quentin Spain or Cody Ford, have been guys you can count on to win blocks, especially in the run game. Pass blocking, they're very good. The Bills have a top 10 offensive line as far as I'm concerned when it comes to pass blocking. But rush blocking, they are not there. And as good as they've been throwing the ball, in the NFL, if you're going to be one-dimensional, good teams are going to take advantage of that. And we've seen it the last 2 weeks with the Titans and Chiefs. And those two teams aren't even very good defenses. They're middle-of-the-pack defenses at best. The Titans' defense is not even good. And yet they held the Bills to under 20 points. So there are significant problems with this team right now. And they've been exposed by the better teams. They won't be exposed this Sunday, because they're going to waltz into, MetLife Stadium on Sunday and get a win over the Jets. I don't care if it's, me playing quarterback and AJ playing linebacker behind me there. So they're not going to be a problem this week. But against the elite teams, the good teams, the AFC, the teams they're going to have to face and beat in January, they have been exposed the last 2 weeks. They're not very good up front physically, either side of the ball. And Josh Allen, can't make up for that. When everything's going good, Josh Allen can be an MVP caliber quarterback. And that's not just because of what's around him. It's because of Josh Allen being better this year. But when things aren't going well, you get what you had last night, 14-27 for a $122 and a pick. That's not getting it done against anybody. So Josh Allen, although he's taken another step this year, he took a step from year 1 to year 2. He took another step year 2 to year 3. But there's still room to grow before he can become that guy that you can count on to just, win a big game against a good team, even if everything around you is not doing very well. What you guys got me? Terry Thompson. I agree this game seemed less bad after a night's sleep, and the Bills' offense had nice surprises. Who knows? Yeah, talk about the offense. How about the special teams? If they can get Tyler Bass to hit a field goal at the end of the first half, think about what that 3 points does, end of the game. Now that Chiefs field goal late doesn't end the game. It just makes it, instead of a field goal difference, it's a touchdown difference. The Bills are still down only 1 score. So that's a spot where special teams could have helped. Jason Reese, dumb penalties, couldn't stop the run. If they want to beat a contender, they have to beat the better teams. No doubt. But Jason Reese, again, the point I'm making is the Bills didn't stop the run. I want to say that they couldn't stop the run. They chose to not stop the run. Now, they probably were worse than expected against it anyway. But there's a difference between couldn't stop the run and didn't stop the run. I think last night was more didn't stop the run than couldn't stop the run. There's a healthy dose of both. But what the Bills have been saying, and you look at the results, look, you can't hold the Chiefs under 30. Most teams consider that a win. And I don't think it's unreasonable to say. I think the Bills purposely decided to give some stuff up in the running game in order to defend the passing game, or at least attempt to defend the passing game a little bit better. And it did have them in the game late. Now, you want to criticize that. I think the fair criticism of that is to say, don't the Bills have a good enough offense to score with this team? Can't the Bills go back and forth and win that game 40-35? I think they can. But it doesn't appear like the Bills coaches think they can yet. Matthews is available. Thanks, Corey Tessier. Is Tessier or Tessier? Tessier. I'm going to go Tessier. Tell me if I'm wrong. Eagles being over the cap next year, do you think the Bills should go after Fletcher Cox? Not a terrible idea. The Bills do need someone in the middle. Not that Fletcher Cox can't defend the run, but I would be more inclined to find someone who can be like Star Lotulelei and defend the run, occupy blockers, and clean things up for linebackers behind him. But yeah, I would, if I'm the Bills and you can find someone who can play that one tech, or a guy that can just be a solid run defender in the middle, clog lanes, occupy blockers, I would want that guy on my team. I'm gonna look at play right here for you, Corey. You brought this up yesterday, and I want to get a full analysis to see where we are at here. All right, he's 34, has not played, didn't sign with anybody. So, look, not that it wouldn't be the first time, Corey, that someone came off the street after not playing all year and had an impact. I am very skeptical about a guy like Clay Matthews who hasn't played all year, expecting him to come in and step in and have an impact. But the thing with Clay is that he's obviously a linebacker, and frankly the Bills. Now, if Matt Milano's not going to play for a while, then I think Clay Matthews becomes more of an option. But as you also point out here, though, I think the bigger need is up front. If I'm going to add a guy, if I'm the Bills, the guy I want to add is someone on the defensive line, because the defensive line just is not. They're not physical enough. They're not stout enough. They can get after the quarterback. They do okay. Well, I shouldn't say that. They're not very good getting after the quarterback, but they're better at that than they are against the run. So that's what I would do. All right, guys, appreciate you checking in. I'm not sure when we'll do this again. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow. I can probably get one in tomorrow. But Bills and Jets this week won't be a whole lot to talk about. This is this is an organized walkthrough for the Bills. This is a win for sure. I mean, very rarely do you say that about an NFL team, but even if Josh Allen gets hurt, the Bills still win. I mean, it would take one of the more random 5 turnover, triple deflection games for the Bills not to win. I mean, the Jets are frankly that bad, and they are shedding players left and right. So, Bills are going to win this week, and then we'll talk about the Patriots after that. So, appreciate you checking in, and I'll catch you later.